Hi everybody. Woohoo, the last example from the ugliest section, A-2, solving systems by substitution. Sorry that I'm not like, oh my gosh, but once again, this is the hardest topic, but you will see it again. This is kind of like an introduction. You will see it in 9th grade, 10th grade, and possibly 11th grade. So lesson A-2 deals with solving systems by substitution, and this is the example number 3. So the example says, as part of class day, the 8th grade trip is doing a treasure hunt. Each team is given the following riddle and map. Oops, I didn't put a space right there. Undo. Right there, and map. At what point is the treasure located? And so the riddle that they're given is, there's a pirate treasure to be found. So search on the island all around. Draw a line through A and B. Well, they already did it for you. There's a line through A and B. Then another through C and D. There's C and D. Dance a jig. X marks the spot where the lines intersect. That's where the treasure plot is. Okay, so when I look at this is already by graphing, but unfortunately graphing C is not exact. It's right between 0 and -1, and it's right between 1 and 2 for y, so we need to find the exact solution. Okay, so first, well, we need to write the equations of the lines. So the equation of this line, okay, what stands out? Oh, right here, the y-intercept. What's the y-intercept? Where does it cross the y-axis? It crosses at 1, 2, +2. So remember, the formula for the slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. M stands for the slope, and B stands for the y-intercept. So here the y-intercept is 2. Now to find the slope from this point to that point, how much do I rise? I rise 1, 2, 3, and then I run 1, 2. So rise 3, run 2, so the slope is 3/2. So now I got my slope, I got my y-intercept, so my equation is going to be y equals the slope, rise 3, run 2, halves x, and then the y-intercept was 2, so plus 2. Now, this line right here, the y-intercept is 0, so the y-intercept is 0, and what's my slope? I rise 1, 2, 3, 4, but I go -1, so my slope is going to be -4 out of 1. So -4 ones, so it's just going to be -4. So I can just put y equals -4x, and the y-intercept is 0, so I don't even need to put 0 right here. So now I'm doing substitution. This one is perfect because the y is already by itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to replace, instead of this y, I'm going to replace what this y is equal to, 3/2 x plus 2. So right here underneath, instead of this y, I'm going to replace it, and I'm going to put 3/2 x plus 2 equals -4x. Okay, I replace this y and I put 3/2 x plus 2. Now, gosh, those halves, the fractions are throwing me off, so let's get rid of that half. How do we get rid of that half? Multiplying everything by 2. So I'm going to put parentheses on everything because I don't want to have fractions, and I multiply everything by 2. Okay, I just put everything, I'm going to multiply everything by 2. So right here, 2 times 3 is 6, divided by 2 is 3. So right here, I'm going to have 3x, there's the x right there. The next thing is there's a plus, and then I go, okay, 2 times 2 is 4, so I put 4 equals, I also have to multiply this 2 times that -4, so 2 times -4x is -8x, and so I got rid of the fraction. Okay, now in the past we've always the thing that stands out to me here is that I have x on this side and x on this side. In the past, I've always shown you that you move the smaller one over here, but if I move that smaller one over here, then this is going to stay at 0. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to have to move the x's onto this side because there's already the x term over here. So if I want to move the 3x, I subtract 3x from both sides. So I go minus 3x. Whatever I do to one side, I gotta do to the other side. Oops. And remember, I put a long line. Let me see. Okay, so remember I'm subtracting, so I'm going to put a long line right here. So 3x minus 3x is 0. So the only thing that's going to be left on this side is 4 equals. And now here, negative 8x minus 3x. Or you can think of it as negative 8x and negative 3x. That gives me negative 11x. Now I want to get the x alone. The x is being multiplied by negative 11. So the inverse of multiplying by negative 11 is dividing by negative 11. Remember that whatever I do to one side, I got to do to the other side. So divide by negative 11. And to divide, I show my little fraction bar right there. I'm dividing both sides by negative 11. So my fraction, remember we said that it was a decimal, is negative 4/11. That's what's equal to x. Now it's called substitution. Now I got to find whatever y is. So I got to substitute again this value for x right here because I want to get what y is. So right here, y is equal to 3/2 times x plus 2. So I replace. Instead of, equals, I have 3/2, but instead of x right here, I'm going to substitute it. I'm going to put negative 4/11, and then there's the plus 2 right there. So I put plus 2. Okay, so now 3/2 times negative 4/11. I go 3 times negative 4. That's, what is it? Oops. Forgot to put the equal sign. That is 3 times negative 4 is negative 12 divided by 2 times 11 is 22. I can reduce that because look, this 4, I could have canceled this 4 with that 2, so that would have given me 2. So I can reduce that by 2. So this one is going to be 6 and this one is going to be 11. Okay, and then there's a plus 2. So fractions again. So I got to find the common denominator. The common denominator is going to be 11. So I have negative 6/11 plus, oops, forgot the other one. Instead of putting the 2, I'm going to put it as 11s. How many 11s are in 2s? 22 11s. 22 11s, 22 divided by 11, that's 2. So now I'm going to have negative 6 plus 22. That gives me negative, what's 22 minus 6? Negative 16 out of 11. Okay, the same denominator. So the solution, or we can say, what is it? The, okay, the treasure is at point, the x goes first, so the x is negative 4/11, and then the y, remember this is the x, this is over here the y is negative 16/11. Okay, and so it is done. Yay, we're done with substitution.